What you see here is the smallest car Mercedes offers today, along with an A-Class, because this basically is an A-Class, just with a different kind of body, different shape and different design. And this particular one is called CLA 250E Coupe. And that last word is actually pretty important, because this car can also be bought in a version that's called a shooting brake, which basically is a station wagon. Because, well, actually, why not? This is a bloody good-looking car. I actually don't see many people not liking the way it looks. I actually feel more pretty myself being inside. Well, the previous CLA was not really my style. It looked a little bit like a toy, especially with those big front and rear lamps. But this one is completely different. Even the rear end looks better than, for example, in a CLS, which is a few grades higher class. I would say it looks a lot like the new CLS, and sometimes, and from some angles, I wouldn't be even able to tell which one is which. Check this out. Frameless doors. I know some of you love them. And the forward-leaning front grille. And they got fantastic. But what may come as a surprise is the powertrain, because, wait for it, this is a plug-in hybrid. A plug-in hybrid with combined power of 218 horsepower and 450 Newton meters. Wow. It's like a truck. And this much torque is a lot even for a big diesel engine, while this one is a petrol. A petrol that is 1.3 liters. Plug-in hybrid is a good compromise if you don't want to give up on range, for example. And yes, the petrol engine has 4 cylinders and 160 horsepower. However, this is where we're getting played, because the electric engine alone produces 102 horsepower. Yet combined, when they work together, the powertrain produces 219. I was good at maths, but somehow this doesn't work. Anyway, Mercedes claims that this car can do 0 to 100 kilometers per hour or 0 to 60 miles per hour in 6.8 seconds. And this might sound a little bit crazy and impressive, but the thing is, I actually did test it, and I do suggest that you go ahead and check the video, because the results were, well, you should see for yourself. And by the way, I tested it both in electric and combined power. But 1.3 liters, damn man, that's crazy. Wow, the sound, this whistling sound at high RPMs is really cool. It sounds like a turbine, which it actually may be. Or maybe it's artificial, I don't know that. But anyway, it sounds really cool. In case you're wondering, it is front-wheel drive only. Mind you, it's pretty heavy for its size, over 1.7 tons. This is over 200 kilograms more than the regular CLA 250. With 4 meters 69 centimeters long and 1 meter 83 centimeters wide, it is just as wide as a Volkswagen Passat. And it's just 8 centimeters shorter than it. It's about this much. So now you know what kind of a small car I'm showing you here. Now you may be wondering whether they have put this weird Cvt Aromatic Transmission. Look, this is a Mercedes. Of course they didn't. Instead they put here a proper 8-speed aromatic gearbox, even with paddle shifters, which is definitely a good news. And actually, take a look yourselves. Here you have them. Up, right there. And now, this is your gear selector right here. No conventional lever in Mercedes anymore. So you see where they are going? Even though this is a hybrid, you're not getting those awful little tiny 16-inch rims here, but 18ths. And actually the biggest ones that you can get for this plug-in hybrid is 19-inch rims. Look, there are no blue or green additions, but instead you can get a freaking AMG pack. See, this is a completely different approach to being eco-crazy. Can I say that? And I think this is how it should be. Why a plug-in hybrid or any kind of hybrid could not look good. And I'm glad that Mercedes understands that. Thank you. I'm enjoying driving this car. Even despite the fact that it has front-wheel drive and quite a lot of power, and it behaves like a cat or a dog on your marble floor in the living room. So it's trying to get grip as soon as possible, while at the beginning it's just spinning its wheels. If you want to race anybody, you will go for an AMG version anyway with 4-wheel drive. Mercedes' 4MATIC system. Now what about battery range and fuel consumption? There's a 15.6 kilowatt hour battery that you can charge by plugging right here. It allows you to travel up to 50 kilometers only on electricity. Petrol comes on the other side and the tank has the capacity of 35 liters. Now charging from 10 to 80% using the fastest charger takes, watch this, 25 minutes. Yet using a wall charger you can charge it from 10 to 100% in just 2 hours. Full charging at home from your regular home socket takes around 5.5 hours. Now this is tricky and depends a lot on how much you drive daily and how often you can recharge the car. Because if you drive 50 kilometers per day and then charge your car and repeat that over and over again, you may in fact not use the petrol engine almost at all. However, you're not having full control over whether the car is using the petrol engine or not, because it still thinks on its own a little bit. So if I switch it fully to electric and I try to do the kick down, meaning that I push the accelerator fully down, the petrol engine will engage anyway. In terms of technology, there's lane keeping, there is collision prevention system, a knee airbag, panoramic sunroof, LED high performance front lights with automatic high beam, LED stripes inside which you can change the color of if you have them. And if you have them, there are 64 colors. And there is also wireless charging. As for the front lights, there is one more choice, the multi-beam LED lights that adapt and prevent you from blinding other drivers while using high beam almost all the time after dark. Now let me tell you that is really cool. This CLA 250 Coupe starts from around 38,000 euros or $45,000. This one here is worth around 45 to 50,000 euros or around $50 to $55,000. The tailgate is not electric, even though it opens itself. However, Mercedes decided to not give us any kind of handle to close it later, so we have to grab it like that and try to close it, which is rather inconvenient, I would say. Claimed fuel consumption during the first 100 kilometers is around 1.5 liters, assuming that you start with batteries fully charged and assuming that it's not the sport mode that you're driving in, because then it uses more fuel. About the suspension, because that's what I'm trying to find out now, especially on this bumpy road. The thing is that the suspension is on the firmer side. It is more stiff. However, it is not stiff to the point that anyone would actually notice it, in my opinion. So it's not like you drive this car and you get over some bumps, potholes or speed bumps and you say, oh, this is a definitely sports-oriented car, the suspension is stiff. I would say it does a very well job in soaking up all the bumps. And what's funny is that, in my opinion, since I recently drove GLE Coupe with air suspension, this one seems to deal with all the bumps in a very similar manner. It's like there's really no difference between them, which is I would say this is a compliment to this car. But there's one thing that you should know, and it's that GLE Coupe has a little bit differently set suspension than the regular GLE. The regular GLE would be more comfortable, it would be more soft, while the Coupe version would be more stiff, and that was the point, that was the purpose of that car. You can also have cruise control with distance control so that you can relax more. There is sign recognition for you, head-up display showing you the data right in front of you on the windscreen, blind spot information system that tells you if there's anything going to pass you on other lanes, and a pretty innovative solution that I tested in GLE Coupe, which lets this system work also after you stop. This may save some bicyclists' lives since it sees them too and warns you with a light and a sound. It may be no surprise to you that it can fully park itself and can have 360 degrees camera. This one actually has only the rear view camera, but if you want it, you can have it. The size of this display on the right is 10 inches and you can play with it with your fingers, or you can use the touchpad on the right side of your steering wheel, or this main touch control here with some additional buttons here on top. On the other hand, on the left hand this time, you have another touchpad, the left touchpad, which is used to control this multimedia screen here on the left, right in front of you. Here is the main touchpad, while you can activate voice control by saying, "Hey Mercedes." Hey Mercedes, are you there?
Of course, I'm always here for you.
Oh, fucking! I guess you didn't want to interrupt me before, but that's a good one. So if you'd like to see more of my funny and deep conversations with Mercedes, please check the video in the description below. The multimedia system is MBUX, which stands for Mercedes-Benz I'm not sure what user experience. Just like in the CLA Coupe that I tested recently. So go ahead and watch that video because it was a lot of fun. The thing is that you don't need to learn by heart specific commands for this system to understand, because it's kind of intelligent already, so that it can recognize what you actually are trying to say, which is a good thing. I know some of you would find it rather pointless to have to memorize all the commands in order to use them. So, well, I think it's done well, and I do agree with that point of view. So what surprised me here is that the audio system is pretty decent. I think that in this CLA there is just a regular standard audio system with regular speakers, and despite that it sounds really good. So the deep tones are here, the higher tones are here, and also you've got, oh, and I turned the windshield wipers accidentally somehow. God knows how I did that, but I did. There's something weird with the brake pedal. Sometimes I think it might be connected with the fact that it's a hybrid, so there is kind of this recuperating power, it's trying to get the power back. But sometimes when I push it very gently, I feel some, should I call it vibration or tickling? Anyway, something's going on with it, and it's like ABS wants to kick in, yet it doesn't. I don't know what that is. This is weird. But wait, because there can also be a camera somewhere here in the roof and somewhere there around the screen, so that it can look for your gestures, what you do, where you reach, so that it can both control the lights and it can respond to your gestures with a multimedia system. CLA has auto dimming mirrors, which is, I think, one of the most important and most useful both safety and comfort features. And I'm actually surprised that not so many manufacturers actually do install all three auto dimming mirrors, and I'm happy Mercedes does. Thank you again. What is especially interesting is that you may get CLA with those multi-contour seats, and this one actually doesn't have them. These are regular seats, but the thing is that now, regardless of how much you like the look of a car, how much its size suits you, you may have all the bells and whistles you want, regardless of whether you go for the biggest S-Class in this case, or the smallest A or CLA class. And I'm wondering if this is good or not good, but I think I should be leaning towards being good. But the question is, what do you guys think about it? And then there is interior, which is very interesting because it actually looks to me, in terms of details and quality, just like interior in other models, including much bigger and also more expensive ones, like for example that in CLA Coupe that I was driving last time. And this is interesting especially because this is almost an entry-level car for Mercedes. Not necessarily this plug-in hybrid one, but generally CLA is like, you start from this one. And having all the things that look pretty much the same like in bigger and more expensive models, this is amazing to me. So this is also proving my hypothesis that no matter what kind of size or what type of vehicle out of those luxury brands, specifically Mercedes, you want, you may still get the same plushness, the same good feeling inside. And I'm happy about this. In terms of quality, I don't see anything wrong here. These are all good, nice materials. They look nice, they feel nice. This is a really strong point for this car. The same applies to the possibility of having a keyless access, which this one actually doesn't have, but I do recommend that you get it. Sunshade test. You can't open it here, you can only open it here. Now you have to... Crap. Oh, okay, that's how it works, with a little bit of power. Now does it slide? No, it does not. Okay, but there is a light that's shining exactly on the top of this cover. One more thing that I noticed, or that I keep noticing in Mercedes cars, is that they kind of don't like handles. There's nowhere anything to grab for any of the passengers. None of them has any handle. I think this may be because this car has a panoramic sunroof. So what about the seats? First thing about the seats is that the rear seats fold. Yes, they do. So if you want to put something very long into the car and carry it, you can do it. That's no big deal, even though this is a sports sedan and it looks like a sports car almost. As for front seats, because this is one of the most important parts of your car, front seats are rather firm, but they're okay. Once you find your position, you generally can stay like that and you don't need to adjust anything. It's not getting uncomfortable after some time, even though at the beginning I thought it would be, oh, that would be hard. And the fact is that after driving a while, I'm completely fine. Once I found my position, I just left it like this and it's okay. You may consider going for multi-contour seats, which give you perhaps more adjustment, and it generally may be easier to adjust them and adapt to your specific body type. But I think I would do that anyway. This whistling sound. Yeah, it's really precise. And what I do like is the brakes. And they are so sharp and so precise that it makes it actually enjoyable to brake. And I don't think I've experienced that before. At least I don't remember. But I'm really, really impressed with that part. Those only USB-C charging spots mean that I could not charge anything here. Anything. But perhaps you can get some adapters or something like that. Sometimes at some speeds, when you try to kick down, this gearbox, maybe because of having so many gears, it's really thinking for a long time what it wants to do. And I believe it's, first of all, because it has so many gears, and secondly, because it's also trying to think, should I use electric engine, should I use petrol engine, should I use both of them, like what configuration to choose. But it happens that you may even wait sometimes 2 to 3 seconds before it actually kicks down. Okay, that was quick, but it did happen a few times that it really took a while, and I was like, what the hell, this car is so agile, it's so quick in general, it's got enough power, yet see, that was the one. It's like dropped a few gears, then decided to drop a little bit more, and then it got the kick. So, well, there is a solution to that. You just use your paddle shifters. Tailgate may be opened with the remote. Voila. So overall I like it, and there's another good thing, which is that there are other engines like CLA 250 that are just as quick. And quick is fun. So as we established before, it is not a small car, and it's not like all those other eco cars with green and blue additions and lack of power and looking uncool and so on. This one is different. It's a stylish car that is driven by young women with big glasses and young and old YouTubers. So if you like this video, please give it a thumb up, and see you in the next one. I could not charge anything.